निखिल भुवन जन्म स्थेम भंग प्ररोहा अकलित महिमान कल्पिता यत्र तस्मिन्।
Rabindranath Tagore lost his mother Sharoda Devi at the tender age of 14. That was the first time he ever faced death of someone so close to him. Later in life, he had to bear the grief of losing many loved ones, one after another. His sister-in-law Kadambari Devi, who was a dear friend and a significant influence, his wife Mrinalini Devi, his daughters Madhuri Lata and Renuka, and his son Shomindranath. All through his adult life, both in his prose writings and in his poetry, death had been a recurrent motif of his meditations. The encounters with death had a lasting impression on him. In one of his reminiscences, he wrote,
"The acquaintance which I made with death at the age of 24 was a permanent one, and its blow has continued to add itself to each succeeding bereavement in an ever-lengthening chain of tears. The lightness of infant life can skip aside from the greatest of calamities, but with age, evasion is not so easy, and the shock that I had to take on full on my breast."
Art thou abroad on this stormy night, on thy journey of love, my friend? The sky groans like one in despair. I have no sleep tonight. Ever and again I open my door and look out on the darkness, my friend. I can see nothing before me. I wonder where lies thy path. By what dim shore of the ink-black river, by what far edge of the frowning forest, through what mazy depth of gloom art thou threading thy course to come to me, my friend?
আজি ঝড়ের রাতে তোমার অভিসার পরাণ সখা বন্ধু হে আমার। আজি ঝড়ের রাতে তোমার অভিসার পরাণ সখা বন্ধু হে আমার। আকাশ কাঁদে হতাশ সম, নাই যে ঘুম নয়নে মম। আকাশ কাঁদে হতাশ সম, নাই যে ঘুম নয়নে মম। দুয়ার খুলি হে প্রিয়তম, চাই যে বারে বার পরাণ সখা বন্ধু হে আমার, আজি ঝড়ের রাতে তোমার অভিসার, পরাণ সখা বন্ধু হে আমার।
Tagore was quite fascinated by the mystery of life and death. His last poems in Gitanjali were written in praise of death with so much of profundity and somberness. Death to him was a liberating force, like reaching the source of light visible at the end of the dark corridor and experiencing the union with the supreme unifying force. Once he wrote, "I had seen nothing beyond life and accepted it as ultimate truth. When of a sudden death came and in a moment tore a gaping rent in its smooth-seeming fabric, I was utterly bewildered. All around, the trees, the soil, the water, the sun, the moon, the stars remained as immovably true as before, and yet the person who was as truly there, who through 1,000 points of contact with life, mind and heart was ever so much more true for me, had vanished in a moment like a dream." What perplexing self-contradiction it all seemed to me as I looked around. How was I ever to reconcile what remained with which had gone? My desires are many and my cry is pitiful, but ever this thou save me by hard refusals, and this strong mercy has been wrought into my life through and through. Day by day thou art making me worthy of the simple great gifts that thou gavest to me unasked. This sky and the light, this body and the life and the mind, saving me from perils of overmuch desire. There are times when I languidly linger, and times when I awaken and hurry in search of my goal, but cruelty thou hidest thyself from me. Day by day thou art making me worthy of thy full acceptance by refusing me ever and anon, saving me from perils of weak, uncertain desire.
বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই, বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে। আমি বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই, বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে। এ কৃপা কঠোর সঞ্চিত মোর জীবন ভরে। বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই, বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে। এ কৃপা কঠোর সঞ্চিত মোর জীবন ভরে। বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই, বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে। আমি বহু বাসনায় না চাহিতে মোরে যা করেছ দান, আকাশ আলোক তনু মন প্রাণ। না চাহিতে মোরে যা করেছ দান, আকাশ আলোক তনু মন প্রাণ। অতি ইচ্ছার সংকট হতে বাঁচায় মোরে বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে আমি বহু বাসনা।
Tagore always felt that the journey of life culminated into the destination of death. When he was losing Rabindranath, his young son of 11 years, he experienced this uncanny feeling, which he lucidly expressed in the following words. When his last moment was about to come, I was sitting alone in the dark in an adjoining room, praying intently for his passing away to his next stage of existence in perfect peace and well-being. At a particular point of time, my mind seemed to float in a sky where there was neither darkness nor light, but a profound depth of calm, a boundless sea of consciousness without a ripple of murmur. I saw the vision of my son lying in the heart of the infinite, and I was about to cry to my friend who was nursing the boy in the next room that the child was safe, that he had found his liberation. I felt like a father who had sent his son across the sea, relieved to learn of his safe arrival and success in finding his place. I felt at once that the physical nearness of our dear ones to ourselves is not the final meaning of their protection. It is merely a means of satisfaction to our own selves and not necessarily the best that could be wished for them.
Tagore eventually accepts that death is inevitable and perceives an intimate relationship between life and death. It is this union of the two that signifies the commencement of a journey towards unification of the Supreme. He writes, "The terrible darkness which was disclosed to me through his rent continued to attract me night and day. As time went on, and I would ever and anon return to take my stand there and gaze upon it, wondering what there was left in place, what had gone. Emptiness is a thing. Man cannot bring himself to believe in that which is untrue is not. So our efforts to find something where we see nothing are unceasing. Just as a young plant confined in darkness stretcheth itself on tiptoe, as it were, to reach the light, so the soul, when the death surrounds it with negation, tries and tries to rise into affirmatory light. Yet, amid unbearable grief, flashes of joy sparkled in my mind on and off in a way which surprised me. The idea that life is not a fixture came as tidings that helped to lighten my mind, that we are not prisoners behind the wool of stony-hearted facts, was a thought that kept unconsciously rising uppermost in rushes of gladness. It is a silent call of dawn to the new life. It is the crown of morning light on the brow of the newly awakened.
I dive down into the depth of the ocean of forms, hoping to gain the perfect pearl of the formless. No more sailing from harbor to harbor with this my weather-beaten boat. The days are long past when my sport was to be tossed on waves, and now I am eager to die into the deathless, into the audience hall by the fathomless abyss, where swells up the music of toneless strings. I shall take this harp of my life, I shall tune it to the notes of forever, and when it has sobbed out of his last utterance, lay down my silent harp at the feet of the silent.
সাগরে ডুব দিয়েছি অরূপ রতন আশা করি রূপ সাগরে ডুব দিয়েছি অরূপ রতন আশা করি ঘাটে ঘাটে ঘুরব না আর ভাসিয়ে আমার জীর্ণ তরি রূপ সাগরে ডুব দিয়েছি অরূপ রতন আশা করি রূপ সাগর